Walk with me. So Tuesday, March 15th, was one of the hardest days of my life. I don't think Karis and I have cried that much ever. Like, literally ever. And it's probably too early for me to be telling this story with y'all, but selfishly, I think it'll be good for me. And I also think it's an important message that many of you need to hear, will get value from, and I'm sure there are people close to you right now that you're going to want to share this with. So Tuesday night, wrapped up a Zoom conversation with our community, and it was enough time now with the whole daylight savings. I love the later days, to go outside and see the sun was about to set. So Karis and I just walked outside in our patio and sat in the chairs. People always say, like, why do you love sunsets? I see you post a lot of sunsets. I don't know. It's just something about the energy of it attracts me to it. Like, it's something you can feel. And I try to catch as many of them as I can. And we were just sitting there watching the sunset. And just before it went down, Jager, and for those of you guys that follow, you know Jager. He's our big, amazing, giant, ridiculous American bulldog, family dog. And he just rolls over, and we have a little elevated bed on the patio that he climbed into and he sits on, and we're just sitting with us staring at the sunset. Jager loves sunsets too. And just as the sun set, right when the colors are the best, sunset lovers know the colors are the best after the sun goes down and the reflection hits every piece that's in the sky. It was a cotton candy color. We noticed that something's off with Jager. Just didn't feel right. And we went over to him, started just talking to him, and put our hands on his stomach, and his stomach was really large and hard as a rock. And he hadn't eaten yet. He hadn't gone and had his dinner, so it was super strange. And then we noticed his breath was very irregular. And over just a matter of minutes, his breath started getting very deep and light, and we immediately knew something wasn't right. Kara started calling vets. I started calling vets. Found one that was open for emergency, and at that point Jager was very, very weak, wasn't able to move or walk, and we immediately lifted him up. Mind you, he's a 125 pound dog. Took both of us to carry him into the car, loaded the kids, and I drove, I think, faster than I've ever driven on public streets. I think I blew every stoplight along the way, rushing to the hospital. Karis climbed in the back of the seat to keep him company, keep his consciousness, and about halfway between our house and the hospital, he goes unconscious. And Karis quickly pulls up a YouTube video of how to do pet CPR and starts attempting to do CPR in the back of the truck as I'm just racing like a straight to the hospital. We get there, we lift him up. The kids in the car, not quite sure how to respond or how to react or what's going on. All they know is mom and dad are sad and focused. We carry him, immediately put him on a stretcher. He gets raced into the emergency room. They begin CPR right away. And the doctor comes out and starts explaining the scenario and our options. Said his stomach had flipped. I guess in the pet world, especially in big dogs, it's called bloat. They said his area around his heart had been filled with blood. And gave us the suggestion that we allow him to pass peacefully. And sign here to let the doctor stop their CPR. Had to have the conversation with Sadie and Grayson, and they wheeled Jager back in a little while later on the stretcher, and we had a chance to say goodbye. And we all had a moment to share and think about some of our favorite memories that came to mind. And Grayson started sharing, and Karis was playing the thoughts in her head, although everybody at this point was just completely wrecked. I started thinking about so many moments. The first day we got him, almost 12 years ago, I ordered him off the internet. He was an internet dog. The picture got me. Lived in California. He was from Florida. Placed the order. They called days later and told me, well, it's too hot this time of the year to put a dog on a plane from Florida. I'm like, what do you mean? I want my dog. I ended up going on a plane and flying to Florida to pick him up so I could fly him home. I remember that first night in the hotel. I had no idea what to do. First dog, this little pup, a couple weeks old, first time away from home. Scared. I remember curling up on the floor of a hotel room, sleeping with them on the floor the first night. Getting on the plane was the most stressful I'd ever been in my life up until that point. True story. Unpotty trained dog flying across the country. I didn't know what to do. It was so stressful. And then bringing him home to the family. This little cute pup. First time he saw the ocean, we were down in Mexico. Let him out on the beach, and it started just all of a sudden, somehow went from dog to goat. Like he got super power goat skills, just prancing and dancing and bouncing, boom, 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 from rock to rock. It was a beach covered in tide pools, and all of a sudden you saw him bounce up and then land in a tide pool and totally disappear. Landed in a puddle that was bigger than him, and he was like, whoop, gone. Ran and pulled him out. He hated water ever since that point, but we just laughed. He loved tug of war. First part of his life, wrestling, tug of war. He would give you his teeth. Like his teeth would come out of his mouth before he would let go of that rope. Every Christmas, his uncanny ability to open up presents. He would always help anybody in the room open up their presents. He had precision of taking off wrapping paper and then tearing open boxes. He didn't need box cutters. You had a Jager around. So many amazing memories. And we gave him hugs. And we said our goodbyes, and we left the hospital without our dog. And that night and the days after, I don't think I have cried that much ever in my life. I don't think Karis has. The impact so bigger and so deeper than I would have expected. And your mind's interesting, right? Like, it's crazy how it doesn't matter how much quote unquote personal development you do or inner work you do, like, it's just built to go negative. And I remember starting to have like thoughts, all of the what ifs and how comes, right? Like, in reflection, like, what if we had noticed earlier, how come this happened now? What could we have done? Did he get into something he should have? Did he eat something he should have? Like, you start going through all of the negative self-talk and starting to beat yourself up over it. Like, how could you have done something different or controlled something different? And I remember I had to sit there and like internally have the same conversation that we've all had in many of our past conversations over the years, where I had to stop. Like, we did everything we could. I told Karis, like, we did everything that we could. And I had to immediately shift my state, and Karis and I started talking, and in my mind, I'm telling myself, well, yes, this is a horrible, horrible, sad, heartbreaking situation. Yes, doesn't matter when something like this happens, it's always too soon. And this specific instance was so fast, like so fast. But I remember having to consciously talk to myself and say, well, what if this is happening for us, right? Not to us. Like, shift from a negative state to a positive state. And Karis and I started having the conversations, and I started to think about and truly feel thankful that if something like this was going to happen, it happened the way it did. We were home. Had it been a week earlier, we were out of town. We wouldn't have been there. We were sitting on our patio watching a sunset. Jager walked up, sat right next to us, watching a last sunset, something that he loved to do. He didn't whimper once. He didn't moan once. Yeah, we could see it in his eyes. Something was wrong, but he didn't complain once. We raced to the hospital and did everything we could, but it happened so quick. It saved us from having to make any really, really tough decisions. There were no decisions we could make. My heart goes out to any, forget pet owner, any person on the planet that's ever been in a situation where you have to make harder decisions. We didn't have to decide if Jager was getting an emergency surgery or getting cut open, or if we had to make a decision to put him under. We were saved from all of the tough decisions. If he's going to go, he went a pretty awesome way. We got to go together in a favorite place, doing something he loved, and fast and painless. And in reflection, stopping the negative, the what ifs, the how comes, realizing the positive in the situation. April would have been his 12th birthday. 12 is ancient for that size of dog. He was a 2 times cancer survivor. 2 times over the last few years, he had horrible cancer. He got sliced in half. Both times the doctor said it was a small percentage of him making it. They told us he would have maybe 6 months each time we did it. And he lived on for years, and his spirits were amazing, and so many more memories. Such an awesome 12 years. And it's just crazy how you go through certain situations, and it doesn't matter how much work you do. You got to put that intention, that shift into a negative to a positive, into a happening to me to a happening for me, regardless of how sad the situation. Same stuff we talk about in so many of our conversations. And it's just interesting. I think about why this is so meaningful. And whether you're a pet lover, a dog lover, a cat lover, I think there's something we can all get from this message, looking back and like, why is the relationship in this case to our family dog of 12 years. Like, why is it so powerful? Why is it so meaningful? Why does it mean so much? And there's three simple things that come to my mind. Three things if I were to summarize 12 years with Jager. Number one would be just total presence. Total presence. He was always there. He was always there. And we always joke around, where's Jager's favorite place to be? Well, his favorite place to be is in the way. Wherever in the way is, that's his favorite place. There wasn't a dinner we ever had where he wasn't at our feet. Ever under the table. One of the positive outcomes of pandemic is more conversations with my family and my parents over FaceTime. And I can't tell you how many times I'm sitting there talking to my mom or my dad, and Jager would come and sit right in between us, right on my feet, right in between us and the phone, like, Jager, we can't see. He just wanted to be present. He wanted to be in the way. The last 2 years working from home, working out of my office, I was never alone. Every Zoom call you've ever seen, every video you've ever seen, what you don't see is Jager down by my feet. Total presence. Never on a phone. Never mind somewhere else. Never physically in the room, but mentally away. All the things we're all guilty of. In the moment, always. Total presence. The second thing that comes to my mind, and I think this is true of maybe so many of our beloved animals out there, is just an unconditional love. Unconditional. Like, unconditional love goes way beyond a loyalty. Yeah, loyal to the bone. Committed to the bone. But beyond that, an unconditional love, beyond any sort of judgment or mistake. Doesn't matter how many times you accidentally stepped on his paw, or I shut the door on him too hard when trying to get him in the car, or was late feeding him in the day, didn't take him for a walk. All the list of things didn't matter. Didn't matter. Moments later, not a grudge, not a moment of judgment. No anger, no resentment, no guilt, nothing back. An unconditional love, no matter what. No matter what. You couldn't screw it up. You couldn't screw it up. Unconditional. And the last thing, and it sounds funny to say, but if I think about it, he always gave more than he got. He always gave more than he got. And it's funny to say, I know we're talking about Jager in this situation, like what kind of dog give? They don't have much to give, but that's just it. He gave everything. Everything he had, always. Yeah, we do our best to provide and take care of him and get him his things and get him his toys and get him his treats. And yeah, we do our best to give, but it doesn't matter how much we give, they always give more back. Because they give everything they got. Doesn't matter that it's not a lot. Doesn't matter that it's small. They give everything. It's crazy that they're with us, such a meaningful part of our lives. For me, this was 12 years. Got them when I was 29 years old. Half of my adult life. But they give us their whole life. Their whole life. They're here for part of ours, a meaningful part, but we're there for all of theirs. They give everything. And it doesn't matter that their everything is not a lot. Their everything is everything. And that's what matters, and that's what makes the difference. So for those of you that are out there that have ever lost a loved one, a fur baby, dog lovers, you know what I'm talking about. And if you cat lovers, animal lovers, I know you feel what we're feeling. It's heartbreaking. It's one of the hardest things ever. So for those of you that have ever been through it, I understand it. My heart goes back to you. thank you so much for the absolutely overwhelming amount of feedback and messages. I've read every single one of them on every platform, and it's appreciated. And I'm sending love and light back to all of you that have been through it, because it's tough. For those of you that have animals right now, let this be that cliche reminder, that ultimate truth, that moments matter. Moments matter. The little things matter. You never know when you're going to have one last sunset. You never know when it's going to be the last walk. You never know when it's going to be the last photo. You never know when the moment you're in is the last memory that's being created. You never know. So make every last sunset and every walk and every moment and every memory matter. Because one day it will be the last one. I'm so glad I was able to take him for that one last walk the night before. I'm so glad I took the photo of him at that sunset. I'm so glad. So let this be a reminder that, yeah, it's cliche, but there is no tomorrow that is guaranteed, and every moment is the gift. And for those of you that are like, Blake, you're that upset over a dog? Yep. But here's the reality. Shouldn't those things that I just said of Jager be true for every one of us and every one of our relationships for the people we love? Can't we all learn a lot from maybe the Jager life, or our fur babies, or the love of our animals, and maybe grab a lesson on how we should treat each other and the people we care most about? Shouldn't those three things be true of everyone we care about, of how we treat everybody? Shouldn't we give total presence in our lives to the people we care about most? Not just physically, but mentally, emotionally. In a time of so much distraction, I think we all can take a page of total presence. Shouldn't we all just want to be always in the way, in the moment, no matter what? Shouldn't we all love unconditionally the people that matter most, regardless of our imperfections and our mistakes, regardless of how many times we mess up or fall down, regardless of how many times we overassume or think someone did something to us because of some reason, when all these things are in our head? Let it go and love unconditionally, forgive and forget, and move on. Shouldn't we all do that of each other? And man, wouldn't the world be a better place if everybody close to us always gave more than they take? And it doesn't matter how much we give. I'm not trying to quantify or make it a game. It's just about giving all we have to give, because all we have to give is all we have to give. But if we give all we have to give, guys, everything comes back in amazing ways. So some thoughts in reflection this week. Sorry for the tears. It's still raw. And I just want to say thank you again for all the overwhelming feedback. It's crazy how many of you care. And my heart goes out to all of you. If you've been through it, you know. If you've never been through it, maybe this is a reminder to make the most of it until you do, because at one point it'll come. And for all of us, maybe there's a lesson here beyond a big, giant, awesome, ridiculous American bulldog that we can apply to all of our lives just to make everything better. He made everything better because of that. Everything better. When Jager was around, it was better. Every moment the last 12 years, it was meaningful. He was there and it was better. And it was because of those things that I shared. And I don't think it has to be a Jager, it has to be a dog. I think it can be lessons we apply to everything and everyone we love and what we do. So thank you for listening to me rant. Sorry for the over emotion. I am truly grateful that we had 12 amazing years and all the memories. Don't worry, he will live on forever in our house. It'll be a minute before I move his bed or move his bowl or move his collar. I think it'll stay there for a minute. But he'll forever live on in the memories. And the lessons that we'll get, I hope, just make every day a little better as we can learn and apply to make things matter more. So with that, here's a positive view from the top. Sun is out, sun is shining, things are great. And hey, I hope this message resonated with you, regardless of if you've had a dog, have a dog, don't care about dogs. It's not about that. It's about connection, and it's about making things matter. If you got something from today's message, let me know below. If there's any advice you have on getting through the patch we're in, I'll take it. I've been getting a lot of text messages, like daily text therapy from friends and family. It's been great. And in the meantime, hey, if there's someone that comes to your mind or your heart, feel free to share all of this. I think it's a message that needs to get out. And I think it's a message, no matter what type of person you are, it's something people will get from. Hope everybody has an amazing day. And here's to making moments matter for those around us that we love most, each and every day. Take care, everybody.